So a huge pro wrestling weekend. Welcome to another edition of It's Still Real to Me. I'm here with my pal Joey Levine. Of course, we did a WWE Night of Champions recap show on Saturday, and now we have an AEW Double or Nothing recap show here. And of course, like everything Zaslow Show 2.0, it's always presented to us by Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. You're involved in any kind of an accident, car accident, motorcycle, slip and fall. You're dealing with a personal injury. You want to be treated like family. And that's what you get when I send you to Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. Joey, good morning. Appreciate you doing this again. I banged out a Zaslow Show 2.0. Earlier today, it's Memorial Day, so we hope everybody out there is enjoying some family time, maybe the pool, maybe the barbecue. Monster Pro Wrestling weekend. Last night, AEW Double or Nothing, a show that was, if we're not counting the buy-in, that was a 4-hour show last night. Very long show. Their shows are always super long. We had title changes. You had some good. You had some bad. I think we'll start with the two biggest matches, right? I think that's going to be the chunk of what we do here. You want to start with, well, first of all, were you surprised that, just like we talked about Saturday afternoon with WWE, were you surprised that the main event was not the Four Pillars Championship match?
Yes. And I was going to ask you, I guess this is just where we're at now in wrestling. But I think it's more surprising to me with AEW because obviously they have made a shift in the way they do their storytelling too, because the whole thing with AEW is that it was more of a wrestling. They're trying to make it more like a sports product with the records and this and that. If the title isn't the most important thing, then it's not a sports product, which it's not. We know it's an entertainment product, but if that's your gimmick, then forget about the records. The records don't matter. The title's not the most important thing, and that's fine because we all knew really it wasn't the most important thing on this card. But I think it's weird that we had 8 hours of wrestling this weekend, two major shows, two of the two biggest companies in the world, 4 world titles, and not one of them was the last match on a show. Yeah. I think it's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an old school way of thinking, but I just think that's kind of strange.
Yeah, I thought it was weird too. So let's talk about the Four Pillars match. Overall, it may have been the best match of the night. I thought it was a great match. The only problem with it was there was no scenario. We knew this going in, and certainly there wasn't a moment during the match. There was no moment that I did not believe MJF was not winning. Maybe that's why it didn't go on last. I thought the match was fun. There was some cool spots, where all of them were doing the submission holds. That was fun. But overall, the match ended the way we thought it would. Maybe that's why it wasn't the main event, right?
Or, Tony Khan was maybe a little nervous that with multiple attempted murders in the main event that the show is just going to get shut down.
Well, you know what it also felt like to me? It felt like the Elite went on last. It was a little bit of the Elite's kind of in charge. They're on the board, I felt like maybe there was a little bit of big timing going on there where we got to go on last.
Yeah, maybe. You could just tell also, I watched the post event media thing again. You could just tell Tony Khan is just he would marry Daniel Bryan. He loves Daniel Bryan. You can just see the way he looks at him, the way he talks to him, the way they look at each other. I think there's some of that there too. He just loves Bryan Danielson. But yeah, as far as the Pillars match, it was good. A lot of great spots. And that's what I expected it to be. I expected it to be a match full of just really cool spots. I will say, I know it's impressive. I'm not a huge fan of the whole rolling around the ring to get the multiple false finish roll-ups. I don't know, that part to me, everyone went nuts for that part. That was the one part I'm all right, we're just rolling in a circle. But the spot where they each did the finisher of the guy who mentored them. Yeah, that was cool. A cool spot.
That was cool.
But it's exactly to your point what I thought it was going to be. I thought
what I thought was weird. I thought it was strange that when Sammy Guevara came out with Ty Mello that they announced that they were pregnant.
Not the
Sammy
time.
Guevara,
not the time.
Right, not the time. Sammy Guevara is a heel. And when you announce that you're pregnant, everybody's going to cheer, and rightfully so. Jungle Boy was in the ring clapping it for them because what's he going to do? He's going to boo?
Right.
I thought it was a very strange way to announce that they're pregnant. He's a heel going into this match. That was weird to me.
Was it as weird as Darby's horrible vignette?
That was very strange. Yeah, I didn't know what I was watching there.
That was awful. I mean, it was the one time in the night where the commentary, I actually didn't want to mute it when I think it was Shivani goes, only in AEW you go from a birth announcement to the bride getting beat up.
Yeah.
But I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this? He's Elvis? What is Darby Allin?
Because they're in Vegas, but I don't know.
I mean, I get it, but Darby's the one dressed like Elvis?
Yeah,
like
weird.
And it was just not good. I guess he's trying to act. I guess in that thing, he was terrible. He didn't hit his lines. That thing was weird. That back-to-back intros was I didn't get it. Not the right spot.
So
I would say the only issue I had with the match, and again, this goes to like the whole momentum thing that I talk about a lot. Last pay-per-view, MJF went over an hour with the best wrestler in the world, and then in this one, they made it seem like he, needed a break from these guys. Like they didn't make him look like the strongest wrestler in this match. He came out on top, and obviously he's a heel and he has to cheat to win. But coming off of the last one, they always have a chance to make MJF that like massive. And it seems like between the announcers just constantly shitting on him. Like there's a way to be an announcer and dislike a heel without Shivani constantly just calling him a piece of trash and terrible and bad for the business. Like, all right, we get it. We get it. You don't like him. He's a heel, but like figure out a way to put over your world champion. Still talk about how great he is.
Jim Ross was the best at that with Triple H. That son of a bitch. Like Jim Ross was so good at that.
Yeah, I mean, or even like with Michael Cole and Dom, like he hates Dom, but he won't deny like he comes from a family with a Hall of Famer and he's doing big. I mean, like there's ways to do it. Shivani's just like, this guy's a piece of crap and I hate him.
Did you like the Acclaimed calling Buddy Matthews a cuck because of Dominic?
Saying that Malachi Black was wearing blackface? Oof, that was one of his most intense freestyles, that in a while. He was going after those guys.
So speaking of blackface, the main event, all right, the main event saw the Blackpool Combat Club entered to a live rendition of Wild Thing, where the lead singer is in blackface and also wearing a black mask over blackface, which, I mean, it was weird. But you and I both had the same initial reaction here. And I already know going into this match, it's not going to be for me. It's not going to be what I'm normally into. And especially when we're talking AEW, this shit's going to be sloppy. All right. This kind of match, 8 guys all at the same time. It's going to be all over the arena, which I will tell you, that part of it, I did not think got out of hand. I thought it was going to be all over the arena, the whole match. It was only in the beginning was it like that. Otherwise, it was not. So I thought that part, they did a good job of keeping kind of in one area. You didn't really lose track of what was happening like I expected to, like there has been in the past. But you and I both, we had the same initial reaction. So they're all fighting in the stands and for several minutes, and the band is still playing the intro. And I can't get past it. They have all this action going on, and all I'm thinking about is I'm completely distracted from the band still playing. It's one of those things where it's like, and I know obviously they kept it going because they wanted the spot where the Young Bucks are just going to eventually make their way up the ramp and super kick the singer. I didn't think the spot was worth it. I didn't think the spot was worth me being distracted the first 5 minutes of the match because it was ridiculous for the band to still be playing. And I really feel like it's moments like that where I think that you end up realizing how much WWE really always has their shit together, because you're like, it felt amateurish that they were still playing all throughout this. And that kind of shit never happens in WWE.
I know what I was thinking about during that match. Like a few months ago, the big news in wrestling was that Mike Mansouri was going to AEW, and he was one of the guys who was tabbed to potentially like eventually take over for like creative and production in WWE. He was with the McAfee show in the past, and then he went to WWE and all this stuff. And it was such a big deal. And it was like, he's going to make the production value better, and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And when I'm watching that, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah.
I mean, the camera cuts are all over the place. It's disjointed. I got this band that no one really gives a shit about playing for 20 minutes. It's like, hey,
playing a song that's 40 years old. Like, it's not a big deal.
Can we get like a dueling? Can I get Kansas out there playing Wayward Son during that? Like, I mean, it was just like, I didn't know what the hell was going on. It was so annoying. And then what makes it worse is that the second half of the match was fucking great. Like when they finally got to the ring, it was great.
Yeah.
And then and it makes you think like they could have a classic if you just do the match. Just, you have what, 7 of the best wrestlers in the world. I mean, whatever people think of Wheeler Yuta, but I mean, I know everyone loves Moxley. He's not my favorite.
Right. But
the other 6 guys in the match are undeniably 6 of just the best professional wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
Can we just have them do the thing? Like, do the thing. But they have all these other bells and whistles. It's like, I know you want a big blow off, but obviously now that's not even the blow off match, right? Like, because with the way it ended, this is not over. The first half, I just almost turned it off. It was like, there were parts where I was like, we've talked about this too. Like, violence can be done in wrestling without it having to be gratuitous.
Yeah. And
there's parts like, I don't need Matt Jackson getting thumbtacks shoved in his mouth. Like, I don't need that. Like, it's uncomfortable to watch that.
Yeah, I don't need the screwdriver. I don't need the attempted murder. And I understand. Look, it's like that match. It's never going to be my cup of tea. That kind of match. It's why I was never, growing up, I was never an ECW guy. I understand how great ECW was, but it wasn't for me because a lot of it to me it was just violence. That wasn't for me. But that's also like a match like last night is also one of the beauties of pro wrestling, where there's all different kinds of pro wrestling that you can like or not like. And that kind of pro wrestling to me last night is normally the kind that I do not like. Yeah. And it's too violent for me. It's a lot of gratuitous blood. And I just think it's like, let's be violent for the sake of being violent.
Yeah, and it's the same beats with especially with Moxley. Like, they talk about how he's like the deathmatch guy, and they called it death jitsu last night and this and that, but it's always the same thing. Like, I'm cool in a match like that if there's like one insane violent spot. Like, the exploding shoe was crazy. Like,
did I miss what happened there? Was I supposed to see him like putting the shoe on? I didn't know what happened.
No, he got pile drived in the truck. And then he came back to save Nick. Matt came back to save Nick.
Okay.
Did the super kick, and his shoe exploded. I guess it was rigged that way.
So I didn't just miss it. Like, it's.
If you missed it, I missed it because I didn't know what was going on either. But it was like, but it was different. It was different. It's like the one time when another shoe related, because the Bucks, their whole thing is their shoes, right? When I forgot what match it was. When they took out the Jordan with the thumbtacks on.
Yeah, that was against the Lucha Brothers. That was cool.
Right. And I was like, you know what? This is cool.
That
it's
was
creative.
Cool.
It's different. With Moxley, it's like, okay, we're going to have a piece of wood, or in this case, we're going to have the giant chip. It's going to have barbed wire on it. People are going to get slammed into barbed wire. Then we're going to have a bag full of thumbtacks. People are going to get slammed into thumbtacks. Then we're going to have a screwdriver and a fork, and we're going to stab people in the forehead. Rinse and repeat.
Like, I'm never going to get past the screwdriver stuff. It's never going to work for me.
The fork.
It's never going to work for me.
I mean, it just, I don't know. So I know people like that stuff, and I'm okay with in spots having that like extreme violence.
Yeah.
But like, that's it with Moxley at this point. And I guess now with the Blackpool Combat Club, that's their thing too.
Well, and it's always, and there's this idea where, okay, how do we go bigger this time? How do we go bigger this time? How do we go bigger this time? And it's like, eventually someone's going to die. Like, that's the only way we go bigger.
Right. Well, you texted me at the end when Don Callis was choking Kenny Omega with the belt, and you were like, well, this is attempted murder. And I was like, well, the whole match is attempted. I mean, there was probably 15 attempted murders in that match.
So you got the ending right, though. You'd been calling for a couple weeks leading up to it that Takeshita is going to be a difference maker in the very end.
Well, yeah, but and I also think like they kind of gave it away with Don Callis being on commentary. No, like him being out there the whole time. You're like, well, something's going to happen here.
Yeah,
like it would have been different. Either way, I thought it was going to happen, but it would have been different if Don Callis just like showed up, ran like at the end, showed up as a distraction, and then Takeshita came out. But like as soon as first of all, not only did Don Callis show up, but like it was in the middle of the chaos of the beginning, and all of a sudden Shivani's like,
right.
Don Callis is here, and he has a microphone. We're like, oh, okay. But that to me,
so
that was like,
that's why the announce team was ringside, right? For that specific spot.
I guess so. Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, I mean, but he could walk. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. I guess I don't mind them being at ringside.
Oh, I like them at ringside, but that had to have been why they were at ringside.
Yeah, I had to be part of it. But that to me, as soon as I heard Callis on commentary, I'm like, okay, well, something's going down, whether it's Takeshita or somebody else.
So is Takeshita in Blackpool Combat Club now? And if so, what does that mean for Don Callis?
Well, that's where it wasn't very clear.
Like maybe he just wants to fight Kenny Omega. Maybe just wants to fight Omega.
Yeah, I don't think he's in Blackpool Combat Club. I think he's probably going to be Don Callis' new guy.
Yeah, I think so too.
But he will help. Like what I am sort of anticipating here is we will get a Dynamite Kenny Omega versus Takeshita, because I don't think that's a pay-per-view match, where the Blackpool Combat Club attacks again, and that's how we get Kota Ibushi. And then we get something at Forbidden Door, some type of elite with Kota Ibushi versus Blackpool Combat Club and Takeshita, something like that. After the show, Kenny cut one of his like post-show kind of promo things that he always does, and he said, "I may not have a lot of friends in the back in the locker room, but I have at least one or two friends outside in the world that are willing to come and back me."
Okay.
So,
okay.
And I obviously he's talking about Kota Ibushi. I don't know who the other one or two could be, but it feels like whether it's Forbidden Door or maybe it's all. I mean, because if Kota Ibushi is going to be in AEW, then that doesn't feel like a Forbidden Door match because he's not really in New Japan right now. So that could be. Maybe he shows up at Forbidden Door or something, but that could be the all-in. That could be all-in. I think this has to be a Blood and Guts, which is their War Games.
Right.
I think this has to be Takeshita.
That's not normally a pay-per-view, is it?
It hasn't been, but they also introduced it during the pandemic. So I don't even remember the last time they did it. But similar to the way we talk about Hell in a Cell now or whatever, I don't think it has to be. It could probably just be anywhere, right? It's a blow off thing. But what else is left? They're not going to do Stadium Stampede with these guys. And what else can you do 5-on-5 at this point? I mean, I feel like that's where this has to go.
Yeah. Let's hit on a few other things. All right. Let's keep this moving here. Let's talk about the Battle Royal. Loved it. You know, I love Battle Royals, period.
I know you love it.
I thought it was a great performance from Orange Cassidy. Did not think he was going to win. I loved the finish. You know, it was setting up the whole time. I thought Swerve Strickland was going to win because the way that it was setting up. I thought he was going to win. And the two of them, the finish on the ropes, Cassidy very nonchalant, just kicks his hand off. I thought was a really, really fun finish. I thought that match was cool as hell. There were a lot of cool spots. They were able to keep rivalries going throughout, being it was Swerve and Keith Lee, it was Ricky Starks and Jay White. I thought it was a great match with a really great finish. Surprised that Cassidy held on to the belt.
I'm surprised. Well, I guess I'm not surprised. I feel like this is the ultimate Tony Khan is now. He is just straight up like this is a troll from him. Like this, like Orange Cassidy opens every show and now he opens the pay-per-view and wins a battle royal. Like, how long can he keep this gimmick going where Orange Cassidy opens every show with a 30-minute match and wins? Can he keep it going forever? This is like Tony Khan's pet project right now. So I'm not overly surprised that he won because it seems like that's just the thing now. I would have liked to see. I don't even know when the match started, I assumed right away it wasn't going to be Ricky Starks, Jay White, or Juice Robinson. And then when I looked around the rest of the match, I'm like, there's nobody in here other than Swerve that can win. Like it was very quickly. I was like, I don't see anybody. it didn't seem like there was anybody. I mean, I guess Keith Lee would be cool, would have been cool in that spot, but there was no one really that I thought like, okay, this is the person that can beat Orange Cassidy other than Swerve. I don't know. I would have liked to. I just think there's too much Orange Cassidy right now. I love Orange Cassidy.
He's been
I
a
love
great champ.
Yo, the matches are great. His wrestling is great, but the whole gimmick is starting to lose the luster of what it was because he doesn't get to do it as much. Because now he's just wrestling. Yeah. He used to be with the best friends, and he would do the pockets and the sunglasses. He doesn't do it as much anymore.
Is Danhausen hurt?
He's not hurt from Twitter. He's got his tweeting all the time. I don't know. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him in a while. But he's not. He's not a best amigo because now. Orange Cassidy has Bandito, and he talked about after the show yesterday. Now he thinks he's going to have to give Trent another title shot because Trent saved him in the match. But yeah, it was a fun match. Battle Royal is always fun.
I'll tell you,
Big Bill had a good showing.
He did.
And Taz had a good line. Again, I always shit on the commentary, but Taz did have a good line. He said, "Everybody always asks why his name is Big Bill. It's because his name's Bill and he's big." It's like, all right, fair enough.
I did not dig Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. It didn't do anything for me. And I think part of it is, number one, I want to see Adam Cole wrestling, not fighting. All right, that's number one. He's a great wrestler. And number two, I just don't know that Jericho's got it anymore, man. Like he's such a
not for a match like that.
I just don't know that he's got it in that way anymore. So that match didn't do a lot for me. And you saw what the crowd was dead.
Well, the crowd was dead for a lot of the show,
just
right?
Dead. So yeah. I didn't love Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Taya Valkyrie and Jade Cargill. So you were right. Their whole MO was to get to 60-0, which I don't get because who the hell cares? 60. It's not like 60 some great round number. Like 50-0 I could see. 50-0 sounds special. 60-0 doesn't mean anything. I don't know what 60-0 means, but they were just trying to get to 60-0. And then at that point, when Mark Sterling is talking, and I thought the match was very good, by the way. And then when Mark Sterling is talking, it's like, oh, Chris Statlander is returning right now, and she is winning the belt right now. And I was disappointed with that because... Yeah.
Am I missing something? Like, everybody loves Statlander. Am I missing something here?
I was disappointed because if Jade's going to lose, I want it to be a feud. I want there to be a build-up, not just out of nowhere. Like, I guess you do it out of nowhere like that because then she has this built-in excuse, that this is why I lost. So she didn't have to agree to the match, but I guess you have this built-in excuse. I wanted it to be a build-up and a feud, and that's how she loses, not just out of nowhere. So I didn't love that they did that.
Yeah, this again, it's like based off of the post-fight presser, it seemed like this was almost like Tony Khan rewarding Chris Statlander for like going through all of her injuries. It was like, all right, you worked really hard and you got back, so we're going to give you a belt.
And you know what was also weird though? Because Jade Cargill's totally babyface now. And the way they had her lose last night, like that's how you beat an undefeated heel. Like it was weird.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'll ask you, what am I missing with Statlander? Why does everybody love Chris Statlander so much?
I don't know.
Now, I will say she looks great. Like, she looks like she's in phenomenal shape because I remember her, like, before she got hurt, she was getting a little big, or at least it looked like to me. She looks like she looks jacked. But otherwise, I don't get it. Like, her character's weird. She's an alien.
I think they may be ditching that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're going to be doing that anymore.
So she's just a person.
Yeah, I think she's just a person. Yeah.
She's just all right. Well, I guess I got to wait and see.
Yeah.
But I just don't get it. Like people on Twitter, oh my god, like the internet community on Twitter was so hyped that Chris Statlander beat Jade Cargill. I just am like, I don't get it. I don't see it. Not that she's bad. It's just why? Like Jade we've been saying for such a long time, Jade feels like she's bigger than.
Yeah, I love her, but I don't think everyone feels that way. I love her, but I don't think everyone feels that way.
Yeah, it was strange, but whatever.
Jamie Hayter's hurt.
She must be. I don't know why you would take the belt off her.
I was stunned. I didn't even see the match. I got up. I had something to do. I didn't expect it was going to be that quick. I came back. My son told me Toni Storm won.
Yeah. I'll also ask the same question here. Why Toni Storm?
I like Toni Storm. No, I like Toni Storm a lot. Like, I'm down with Toni Storm being in a major feature role, but unless she's hurt, I'm keeping that belt on Jamie Hayter.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't get it.
But I got to think that just means that Saraya just can't wrestle, because why would you not have Saraya win the title? You made such a big deal. It must mean
they don't want her to be a workhorse. I mean, they don't want to. Yeah, she's not going to be champion.
Yeah. I would think that's what this means, is that Jamie Hayter's hurt, because I was very surprised to see.
Yeah. Very
surprised that happen. Again, Toni Storm's another one that, like, I would even almost prefer Ruby Soho to Toni Storm winning. I've never been super. I mean, she's fine as a character, I guess, but I personally have never been super impressed with her as a wrestler. Like, her matches seem clunky. By the way, her, like, that hip attack is what they call it. It's really like the ass attack, but that's like the most dangerous move in wrestling. Did you see how Hayter's head snap back? Like, you can't fake that. That looked really bad.
Yeah. Speaking of looking really bad, I can't believe that ladder spot from Wardlow. Like, I think it was. I think I saw someone say, like, it was a move that could have ended Wardlow's career. How about a move that could have ended his life?
Yeah,
that was crazy.
In a match that I felt like we probably could have done on Dynamite. It was a 4-hour show.
Yeah, match was fine.
We probably could have put that match. Good. I'd say that match and the House of Black match both could have been on Dynamite.
Arn Anderson really was biting his finger off, huh?
Arn Anderson's a fucking weirdo.
It's disgusting.
Like, we may need to get this guy off TV.
It's disgusting, right?
He is. I don't know what the hell is going on.
It was really gross.
Although, that guy, you know, the guy RJ City, that does like the backstage interviews. He was interviewing Arn before, and he said, "Are you gonna be strapped when you go to the ring tonight?" And Arn said something like, "Ask your mama." And then RJ City's like, "All right, well," he goes, "Arn Anderson, apparently my stepfather."
Okay, there you go.
It's very, very interesting. Arn is, I don't know, I hate to say some CTE happening here, but he is losing his mind more and more every time he's out there.
Yo, how about Ref Aubrey taking the guitar shot from Karen Jarrett? Holy crap. Like, I feel like they've been alluding for a while to someone putting their hands on Ref Aubrey, and it finally happened. I mean, just taking a guitar shot to the head. Like, so where are they going to go from there? Because Ref Aubrey's not going to, like, what are they going to do about that? Karen Jarrett has to be suspended, right?
She should be suspended. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't know where they even go with Jeff Jarrett and with that whole crew. I mean, now they lost. Now what? I mean, that was what's Jarrett's been great. I just don't even know what you do with that whole gimmick right now. Like, I think maybe you take that whole crew off TV for a little bit, and because obviously now we're going to get FTR and Ricky versus the Bullet Club.
Oh, okay.
You saw that, right? You saw the backstage.
No.
Ricky. So after the battle royal, they went backstage, and it was very like Ricky Starks was very clearly like looking around, like he was looking because he knew what was about to happen, because that was the script. But Renee was either Marvez or Renee, one of them was interviewing him, and then the Bullet Club attacked him, and it was right after the title match, and FTR was walking back and saved Ricky Starks.
Okay. All right. So I'm into that. That'll be fun.
So, which means we're going to get a third Bullet Club member probably.
Okay.
But that means, so FTR has their thing. So maybe Jarrett and them are off for a little bit. I don't know. Jarrett's been good though.
Overall, I mean, I didn't think the show was great. I think the show had its moments.
Well, it was long.
Yeah.
And the crowd did not.
Oh, the crowd was a killer. Terrible crowd.
Meltzer tried to, by the way, Meltzer tried in the press conference, tried to get Tony Khan to like go there. Obviously, we know. Yeah, we obviously know Tony Khan doesn't answer anything about anything.
Right.
But Meltzer was like, Tony, I was just wondering, the crowd was pretty interesting tonight. Do you have any comments about any of the reactions from the crowd tonight that were a little bit interesting?
Terrible crowd.
And then Tony Khan obviously did the promoter thing where he's like, well, they were great during the Battle Royal and they were great during the, he didn't really say anything, but
yeah,
it was pretty clear it was rough. It was just very quiet for most of the show.
Yep. All right. Well, look, massive pro wrestling weekend. We were able to bang out 2 It's Still Real to Me shows this weekend. So
I got to give a shout out.
Yeah.
The best match of the night last night was on TakeOver. TakeOver
I didn't
was
see
last
it.
night. Yeah, I after it was over, I haven't watched anything other than Ilya Dragunov versus Dijak.
Oh, it was good?
Listen, we talk about how there's a way to do violence. That's a match. That's how you do violence. That match is how you do. That match was awesome.
All right, maybe I'll watch this afternoon.
Ilya Dragunov is. I'm probably going to go back and watch the whole thing because I heard the whole show is pretty good. Ilya Dragunov is just so. Dijak's
Dragunov's good.
Dragunov is awesome. He is so cool. He's just a badass. And man, he takes an absolute beating in this match. But it was good. It was just really well done.
All right.
So a shout out to that match because I thought that was better than anything that was on Double or Nothing.
All right. Good job, Joey. Yeah, we were able to do this twice over the last couple of days. So we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming this Saturday, recap the entire week, which will be fallout from both pay-per-views.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Tell your fans you'll talk to them next week.
I will talk to you on our normally scheduled program next Saturday.
We'll see you guys in the next episode of It's Still Real to Me.